In the history of human thought, there exist texts that frighten those in power not with calls to rebellion, but with the promise of absolute inner freedom. In the year 1933, as the shadows of totalitarianism began to lengthen over Europe, an event occurred in Germany that remained in the shadow of great upheavals, yet was deeply symbolic for seekers of secret knowledge. Editions of one particular book were systematically removed from libraries and private collections with methodical cruelty. This was not a political manifesto or religious heresy in the conventional sense. It was a system that promised every individual mastery of the master key to their own destiny. Charles Francis Haanel, the author of this system, asserted something unthinkable for any regime: that external circumstances are merely a reflection of one's inner state, and that by changing the focus of attention, the individual becomes invulnerable to external compulsion. The paradox lies in the fact that a book, written by a pragmatic American businessman for other businessmen, was perceived as a threat to state order. Authority always relies on the masses' belief in chance, in fate, or in the will of a leader. Haanel, however, proclaimed the law of causation, wherein the sole creator of cause is human consciousness. This law, expounded in the 10th lesson of his system, states that coincidences do not exist, and what we term good fortune or failure is merely the mathematically precise result of the operation of our imagination. To comprehend the profundity of this teaching, we must transport ourselves to St. Louis, Missouri, in the mid-19th century. Charles Haanel was born in the year 1866 into a family with Prussian roots, which perhaps predisposed him to systematic thinking and iron discipline. He was not a theoretician dwelling in an ivory tower. His path is that of a man who built a business empire from the ground up. Beginning as a humble clerk in an enameling and stamping company, he rose to become president of the corporation within 15 years. His interests were extensive, from coffee and sugar plantations in Mexico to vineyards and mineral extraction. His Continental Commercial Company became a giant of its era. However, Haanel was interested not only in capital, but also in the mechanics of success. Why do some individuals possessing talent and diligence remain in obscurity, while others seem to attract opportunities from the very air? In the year 1912, he began to publish his system as a correspondence course. Each week, subscribers received one lesson with exercises by mail. The cost of the course was immense for that period, $1,500, which today is equivalent to tens of thousands. Among his clients were the greatest industrialists of the era, those whose names today grace the titles of foundations and universities. It is said that Napoleon Hill, author of the bestseller Think and Grow Rich confessed in letters to Haanel that his own work was merely a popularization of the fundamental truths Haanel had expounded in his course. The Master Key system was not merely a book, it was a protocol for reprogramming the human biocomputer. The 10th lesson of this system is pivotal. In it, Haanel transitions from general principles to the finest tuning of the mental apparatus. He introduces a concept which today, a century later, finds confirmation in advanced neurobiology laboratories. This is the law of concentration upon a single point without altering its vector. Haanel writes that most people fail because they constantly change their mental images. Today they desire one thing, tomorrow another. The day after tomorrow, their attention is consumed by the fear of failure. As a result, noise is created in the quantum field of causality, which cannot crystallize into a material outcome. The 10th lesson demands of the student what is impossible for the ordinary person: to select one image and not alter it, but merely to deepen it. Haanel asserts that every effect has a cause, and if you do not perceive the cause of your current situation, it does not signify its absence, it signifies that you created it unconsciously. He quotes ancient Hermetic texts, reminding us that the mind is the sole creative force in the universe. But this force operates only when it is focused. For modern man, living in an era of clip thinking and dopamine traps, Haanel's prescription sounds like a sentence. We are accustomed to variety, to a rapid change of scenery. However, Haanel insists, once an image is created, you have no right to construct a new picture. You must enter the very same scene each day and add details to it. This is akin to the work of an artist who does not abandon the canvas after the first sketch, but applies layer upon layer, achieving hyperrealism. Haanel terms this the law of thought concentration in a single focus. At this juncture, his teaching intersects with the discoveries of psychologist Anders Ericsson from Florida State University. In his seminal work of 1993, *The Role of Deliberate Practice in the Acquisition of Expert Performance*, Ericsson demonstrated that the proverbial 10,000-hour rule functions only when attention is maximally focused on a single narrow task with continuous elaboration of details. Simple repetition is a path to degradation, not to mastery. Haanel intuitively understood this 80 years before Ericsson. Only the depth of attention directed to a single point is capable of breaching the barrier between imagination and reality. Examining the 10th lesson through the prism of neuroplasticity, we discover astonishing congruences. Michael Merzenich, Professor Emeritus of Neurobiology at the University of California, San Francisco, conducted a series of experiments with primates in the 90s that revolutionized our understanding of the brain. He proved that neural maps reorganize only when the animal dedicates extreme, focused attention to a task. If an action is performed in the background, on autopilot, no changes occur in the cortical structure. This confirms Haanel's thesis: a mental image that we hold merely superficially possesses no power. It creates no new neural pathways, and thus cannot influence our behavior and perception of opportunities. Only when we begin to add to the visualization the texture of fabric, the scent of the air, the temperature of objects, that is what Haanel refers to as deepening the image, does our brain begin to perceive this image as a real experience. Norman Doidge's book, *The Brain That Changes Itself*, of 2007, describes how mental training can physically alter the volume of gray matter. Haanel offered his students precisely this: a physical restructuring of the brain through the discipline of imagination. Ancient traditions knew of this secret long before the advent of modern science. In Zen Buddhism, there exists the principle of shoshin or beginner's mind, popularized by Shunryu Suzuki in the year 1970. This is a state in which the practitioner gazes upon the same object or question for decades, each time discovering new depth within it. In the Jewish tradition, the study of the Torah posits that the same verse holds 70 facets of meaning. The student does not seek a new text, he delves into the profundity of the old. Haanel translates this sacred method into the realm of practical goal achievement. He states that the world is a mirror, but a mirror with a delay. If you change your facial expression every second, the mirror cannot reflect anything but a blurred smudge. But if you freeze in a single pose, the reflection becomes clear. The alchemical formula solve et coagula dissolve and coagulate finds its psychological embodiment in the 10th lesson. Haanel proposes to dissolve old habits of thought, based on chaotic reactions to external stimuli, and to coagulate a new reality through the stillness of the inner gaze. This is reminiscent of yogic practices, where an asana is held not for physical exercise, but to achieve a mental silence in which the object of contemplation merges with the contemplator. In the Yoga Vasishta one of the most ancient texts on the philosophy of consciousness, it is asserted that the world is as we imagine it to be, and persistent imagination is capable of altering dense matter. Haanel, being a Western man, translated these metaphysical concepts into the language of cause and effect and business efficacy. He emphasizes that every effect has a cause. If your life lacks resources, harmony, or health, this is an effect. The cause lies in the nature of your mental images. Most people create causes for poverty by constantly visualizing their debts and lack, and then wonder why their efforts bear no fruit. Haanel is unyielding. The law makes no exceptions for those unaware of its existence. Gravity acts upon the saint and the criminal alike. So too does the law of mental causation operate continuously. In the 10th lesson, he teaches us not merely to desire, but to become the cause. And one can become the cause only through absolute concentration. Steve Jobs, the creator of Apple, possessed what his colleagues termed a reality distortion field. This was an ability to focus so profoundly on a product vision that those around him began to believe in the impossible. And ultimately, this impossible manifested in metal and code. Jobs did not change the concept daily. He refined the same idea until it became perfect. This is the living embodiment of Haanel's 10th lesson. When attention is focused on a single task, the dopaminergic reward system is activated. Not through novelty, but through the depth of immersion. Neurobiology confirms that the state of flow described by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi is achieved precisely in moments of extreme concentration on a single goal. When all external distractions vanish, Haanel warns superficial thinking is the curse of modernity. We glide across the surface of things, unaware that power resides at the core. The practice of the 10th lesson requires the student to choose one scene from their future, a place or situation they have already visualized in previous lessons. But now it is forbidden to change the scenery. If you have envisioned yourself in an office, you must return to that very same office. On the first day, you noticed the color of the walls. On the second, the texture of the wood on the desk. On the third, the sound of a clock in the corner. On the fourth, the coolness of the air from the window. Within a month, such a scene will become more real to your subconscious mind than memories of yesterday. And then, Haanel states, external reality will begin to adjust to this inner standard with mathematical inevitability. In the year 1982, physicist Alain Aspect conducted an experiment that confirmed the phenomenon of quantum entanglement. Particles, once linked, continue to instantaneously influence one another regardless of distance. Haanel, unaware of the terms of quantum physics, describes something similar. Our mind and the external environment are entangled systems. By altering the state of one part of the system, our inner image, we instantaneously, though not always perceptibly to the physical senses, affect the entire structure of reality. But for this influence, energy is required. Energy in the mental world is precisely concentration. The diffused light of a bulb barely illuminates a room, but the same light, focused into a laser beam, is capable of cutting steel. The 10th lesson is an instruction for creating a mental laser. Bruce Lee, the martial arts legend, once said, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." This phrase perfectly illustrates Haanel's philosophy. Mastery of life comes not from the accumulation of disparate knowledge, but from the ability to hold a single thought until its complete materialization. Thomas Edison, another contemporary of Haanel, conducted thousands of experiments with one purpose: to find the filament. His mind was fixed on the result, while the form of realization might change, but the idea of light itself remained constant. Nikola Tesla visualized his inventions with such precision that he could run an imaginary machine in his head and, a month later, check which parts had worn out. This is precisely the degree of image deepening of which the Master Key speaks. Haanel reminds us that we live in an ocean of intelligent energy. This energy is plastic and responsive. It takes the form we impose upon it. But if we impose no form, or constantly change it, the energy remains in a state of chaos. The 10th lesson is a call to responsibility. We are not victims of circumstances, we are architects who often abandon their construction sites having barely laid the foundation. Haanel teaches us to complete the building in imagination down to the last nail, before the first brick is laid in the physical world. He quotes Hermes Trismegistus, "That which is below is like that which is above." The inner world is the above, the cause. The outer world is the below, the effect. To change the below, one must become unwavering in the above. Haanel's influence on the culture of success cannot be overstated. Earl Nightingale, whose audio course *The Strangest Secret* became the first gold record in the history of spoken word recordings, directly drew upon Haanel's ideas. Nightingale stated, "We become what we think about most of the time." But Haanel clarifies, "We become that upon which we are able to concentrate without averting our gaze." Oprah Winfrey, recounting her journey from poverty to the pinnacles of the media industry, often mentions visualization as a key tool. But these are not mere dreams. This is precisely the disciplined work with an image that Haanel described over a century ago. Concluding the first part of our immersion into the 10th lesson, we must recognize the magnitude of Haanel's demand. He asks us to conquer the very nature of our restless mind. He offers an exercise that at first glance appears simple, yet in reality is a challenge to our entire accustomed life. Choose one scene. Do not change it. Each day add one new detail. This is the path to dismantling superficial thinking, which renders us slaves to circumstances. This is the path to acquiring the master key, which opens doors not through muscular effort, but through the unwavering will of a focused consciousness. In the next part, we shall analyze precisely how this process influences the biology of our body, and why modern epigenetics concurs with Charles Haanel's conclusions. We shall see how concentration on a single image is capable of altering the chemical composition of blood and gene expression, transforming a mental disposition into biological reality. But before proceeding further, you must ask yourself, are you prepared to keep your gaze fixed upon a single picture without being distracted by the glitter of 1,000 others, alluring with their novelty? For it is precisely here, in this quiet and persistent concentration, that the power capable of moving mountains is born. Haanel emphasized that the mind is the sole creator, and each of us is a manifestation of this universal mind. However, most people utilize this power unconsciously, thereby creating chaos. The 10th lesson calls for conscious creation. He states that when we deepen an image, we enter into resonance with the creative force of the universe. This is not magic in the common understanding. It is the highest form of psychotechnology. When you add to your visualization the scent of a sea breeze or the weight of keys in your pocket, you engage sensory areas of the brain that typically lie dormant during simple contemplation. You deceive time and space, compelling your nervous system to believe that the desired outcome has already been achieved. And at this moment, according to Haanel, the law of causation begins to operate in your favor. In the history of humanity, there have always been those who possessed this knowledge. From the priests of ancient Egypt to the adepts of Kabbalah, the idea that the world is built from the inside out has been a sacred secret. Haanel made this secret accessible to everyone willing to embrace discipline. He removed the mystical haze and replaced it with the logic of an industrialist. If you wish to build a bridge, you do not alter the blueprints every day. You follow a single plan until construction is complete. Why then do we behave differently in the construction of our own lives? The 10th lesson returns us to the drafting board of consciousness and demands precision, fidelity, and depth. This is the first step toward becoming not merely an observer of one's life, but its sovereign ruler. The 24 weeks of Haanel's course were designed to gradually build mental musculature. The 10th lesson is a transition to heavy weights. Here it is tested how well the student has assimilated previous lessons on relaxation and control over thoughts. Without the ability to relax the body and quiet the superficial noise of the mind, deep concentration is impossible. Haanel reminds us that tension is the enemy of creation. Only in a state of profound tranquility can we hold and deepen an image without creating resistance. This state, which yogis call dhyana*, is a continuous flow of attention toward an object. When this flow becomes stable, the object begins to reveal its secrets, and obstacles to its realization in the material world begin to vanish. Thus, we perceive that Haanel's system is a bridge between ancient wisdom and modern science, between mystical insight and business acumen. The 10th lesson stands at the center of this bridge, pointing the way to true power through the discipline of imagination. In this journey, there is no room for chance. There is only the precision of cause and the inevitability of effect. And each of us holds in our hands the chisel with which we daily carve our destiny upon the stone of reality, either by striking chaotic blows or by following a grand design that grows clearer and deeper with each passing day. When we turn to modern science to confirm the insights of Charles Haanel, we discover that what seemed mystical in the year 1912 is today the foundation of neurobiology and quantum physics. Haanel asserted that thought is a creative force that literally reconstructs our reality. In 2007, Dr. Norman Doidge, in his seminal work *The Brain That Changes Itself*, presented the world with undeniable evidence of neuroplasticity. For a long time, official medicine held that the human brain was static and unchangeable after the period of maturation. However, research of recent decades has shown that the brain possesses an incredible capacity for reorganization. Each time you hold a mental image, as the 10th lesson demands, you physically alter the structure of your neural connections. One of the most striking confirmations of this process was the study by Eleanor Maguire of University College London, conducted in the year 2000. She studied the brains of London taxi drivers, who for years memorized the complex map of the city known as the Knowledge. To obtain a license, they must retain in their minds 25,000 streets and thousands of landmarks. Maguire discovered that the posterior hippocampus, the brain region responsible for spatial memory, in these drivers was significantly larger than in ordinary individuals. Moreover, the volume of gray matter grew proportionally to the time spent in the profession. This is living proof that deep, focused concentration on the same image over a long period physically expands the capabilities of the human thinking apparatus. Haanel knew this intuitively. The longer and deeper you hold an image, the more resources the brain allocates for its realization. But the influence of thought is not limited solely to the structure of the brain. It penetrates into the very depths of our biology, into our genes. Bruce Lipton, a distinguished biologist and author of the concept of epigenetics, proved that the fate of a cell is determined not by its DNA but by its reaction to the environment, which in turn is interpreted by consciousness. In 2014, researchers Brian Diaz and Carrie Ressler conducted a shocking experiment that confirmed the power of mental imprinting. They exposed mice to the scent of cherry blossom while simultaneously administering mild electric shocks. Soon the mice would tremble at the mere scent. What is astonishing is that this state of fear was transmitted to 2 subsequent generations who had never encountered electric shocks. This signifies that a deep emotional image imprinted in consciousness leaves a chemical trace in the genetic code. If fear can alter biology for generations to come, then how creative can a conscious, deeply elaborated image of success and harmony be, which Haanel urges us to cherish. The connection between thought and body was further explored by Candace Pert in her work Molecules of Emotion of 1997. She discovered that neuropeptides, chemical information carriers, are present not only in the brain but also in the immune system. Every thought of yours, every image you deepen in your imagination, elicits an immediate chemical response throughout the entire body. Psychoneuroimmunologists Ronald Glaser and Janice Kikolt-Glaser, in their long-term studies of medical students, demonstrated that even short-term mental stress slows wound healing and suppresses immunity. Conversely, the state of deep focus and inner tranquility demanded by Haanel's system activates restorative processes. One cannot ignore the placebo phenomenon, which Henry Beecher described as early as 1955. His research showed that 30 to 60% of the success of any treatment depends solely on the patient's belief in the outcome. This is not merely a psychological effect, it is a demonstration of the causation of which Haanel speaks. The mental image of healing becomes the cause that triggers a cascade of physiological changes, leading to the effect, recovery. When you practice the 10th lesson and add details to your visualization, you are, in essence, creating an internal environment in which the desired event becomes biologically inevitable. If we turn to antiquity, we shall see that the same truths were encoded in the sacred texts and philosophical systems of the past. Hermes Trismegistus, in the Emerald Tablet proclaimed the principle of mentalism: all is mind, the universe is mental. In the Hermetic treatise Poimandres the process of world creation through word and thought is described, which is a direct parallel to Haanel's method. Ancient sages understood that the visible world is merely the shadow of invisible causes. To alter the shadow, one must change the object that casts it, that is, the mental image in the depths of consciousness. The Buddha, in the first stanza of the Dhammapada created over 2.5 millennia ago, states, "We are what we think. All that we are arises with our thoughts. With our thoughts we make the world." This is not merely an ethical injunction. It is a description of the mechanism of reality. The Buddhist practice of visualizing deities or mandalas in tantric traditions is built precisely upon the principle that Haanel describes in the 10th lesson. The practitioner must not merely glimpse an image but hold it for hours, adding the minutest details, the color of garments, ornaments, the sounds of mantras, until this image becomes more real than the surrounding environment. At this moment, a qualitative leap occurs, and the consciousness of the practitioner merges with the qualities of the visualized object. In the Indian text Yoga Vasishta one of humanity's most profound philosophical works, it is asserted that the world is chitta or a manifestation of consciousness. Therein is presented the metaphor that just as a vast tree with thousands of leaves grows from a single seed, so too does an entire destiny grow from one deeply rooted thought. The Kabbalistic teaching of Ein Sof the infinite, and the process of emanation through the Sephirot also describes the path from pure thought to dense matter. In Kabbalah, the process of creation begins with Chokmah wisdom, or the primary image, which must then pass through Bina understanding and structuring. This precisely corresponds to Haanel's requirement not to change the image but to deepen it, giving it form and structure in the mental space. Stoics, such as Epictetus and Emperor Marcus Aurelius, also taught the sovereignty of consciousness. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations wrote that the soul is dyed by the color of its thoughts. He urged constant return to the same noble principles, imprinting them upon one's mind until they became automatic reactions. This is precisely the discipline of the 10th lesson, the rejection of superficial flickering thoughts in favor of deep drilling into a single point. The Zen patriarch Bodhidharma, who according to legend spent 9 years facing a wall in the Shaolin monastery, practiced an extreme form of this concentration. His attention was directed not to external objects, but to the very nature of consciousness, and this unwavering focus created a tradition that has lived for 1.5 millennia. Turning to the stories of specific individuals who embodied Haanel's system in their lives, we cannot overlook Earl Nightingale. In the year 1956, he recorded a short record titled The Strangest Secret It was intended for a small group of insurance agents, but its influence was so powerful that it became the first audio course in history to achieve gold status with sales of over 1 million copies. Nightingale, who himself journeyed from the poverty of the Great Depression to incredible success, formulated the essence of Haanel's teaching in one phrase: we become what we think about. He emphasized that success is not a matter of chance, but the result of deliberately holding the same image of a goal in focus, day after day, month after month. Napoleon Hill, author of the bestseller Think and Grow Rich openly acknowledged that his success would have been impossible without the influence of Charles Haanel. In the year 1908, young Hill met Andrew Carnegie, the wealthiest man of that time. Carnegie entrusted him with a task that took 20 years to complete: to study the lives of 500 of America's most successful individuals and deduce the formula for their triumph. For all these 20 years, Hill held in his mind one singular goal: the creation of a philosophy of success. He did not alter his plan, despite financial difficulties and the ridicule of others. He deepened his image of a great work, adding details from each new encounter with titans such as Thomas Edison and Henry Ford. Ultimately, his book became the foundation for an entire self-development industry. Thomas Edison, another contemporary of Haanel, was a living embodiment of the 10th lesson. When he worked on creating the electric light bulb, he conducted over 10,000 unsuccessful experiments. But for Edison, these were not failures. He stated that he had simply found 10,000 ways that would not work. In his consciousness, the image of a working lamp was so clear, vivid, and profound that the material world simply could not resist it. He added details to his invention every day for many years, until thought became physical light, dispelling the darkness of the planet. Nikola Tesla possessed an even more astonishing capacity for visualization. In his autobiographical notes, he described how he constructed complex machines entirely in his imagination. He made no blueprints until the machine began to operate in his mind. He ran it mentally, allowed it to operate for several weeks, and then disassembled it to ascertain which parts had worn out. This is the ultimate form of Haanel's practice, the creation of an image so detailed and profound that it begins to function according to the laws of physics even before it is embodied in metal. Steve Jobs, co-founder of the Apple company, often spoke of the importance of intuition and focus. His famous Stanford speech about connecting the dots backward illustrates how one deeply imprinted experience can become the cause of grand effects in the future. In his youth, he attended calligraphy classes at Reed College. At that time, it seemed a useless pursuit. But Jobs was captivated by the aesthetics, proportions, and harmony of typefaces. He held this image of perfect design in his mind for years. When the time came to create the first Macintosh, this deeply elaborated image became the reason that computers ceased to be mere gray boxes and transformed into works of art. Jobs was renowned for his capacity for incredible concentration on a single detail, be it the shade of white or the radius of a rounded corner. This depth of attention, rather than a variety of ideas, made his products revolutionary. Oprah Winfrey, one of the most influential women of modern times, has repeatedly stated in her broadcasts that her life is the result of the conscious application of the laws described by Haanel and his followers. She grew up in profound poverty in rural Mississippi, confronting violence and discrimination. But she created in her mind the image of a different life. She did not merely dream, she daily infused this image with details, working on her voice, her manner of speech, and her capacity for empathy. She often quotes the principle that you receive from life not what you want, but what you believe. Her belief is precisely that deep, unwavering mental image that became the cause of her unprecedented success. All these individuals, from ancient sages to modern billionaires, followed the same law that Charles Haanel systematized in the 10th lesson. They understood that the secret to power over reality lies not in busyness and constant goal shifting, but in the ability to choose one point and strike at it until it transforms into a door. Haanel teaches us that every effect has a cause, and this cause always resides within. Coincidences do not exist, there are only unconscious causes that we ourselves sowed in the past. When you embark upon the practice of the 10th lesson, you must comprehend the full gravity of this task. You choose a scene from your future life, something you have already begun to visualize in previous lessons. Now your task is to forbid yourself from changing the script. If you have decided this will be your new office, do not change it to a house by the sea a week later. Remain in that office. On the first day, sense the smell of wood on the desk. On the second day, hear the clock ticking on the wall or the wind rustling outside the window. On the third day, feel the texture of the paper beneath your fingers. On the fourth, notice how the sunlight falls upon the carpet, creating intricate patterns. This exercise appears simple only at first glance. In truth, it stands in direct contradiction to the modern culture of rapid consumption and scattered attention. Our brain is accustomed to a constant change of stimuli, to dopamine surges from novelty. Haanel, however, demands an anti-dopamine discipline from us. He demands depth. As psychologist Anders Ericsson indicated, mastery is not the quantity of repetitions, but the quality of attention. When you add one new detail to your visualization, you engage new neural circuits. You impress this image into the subconscious mind so deeply that it begins to perceive it as an accomplished fact. Neurobiologist Michael Merzenich proved that the brain ignores background noise. If you merely mechanically imagine your goal without investing attention, your brain does not change. But as soon as you focus on a new detail, on a subtle nuance of sound or scent, the brain enters a state of high plasticity. At this moment, you literally rewrite your biological program. You become the architect of your future, not in a metaphorical, but in the most direct physiological sense. The 10th lesson is a lesson in fidelity to one's vision. Haanel warns that those who constantly change their desires are akin to a person who transplants a tree to a new location every day. Such a tree will never take root and will bear no fruit. But he who has chosen one soil and one sapling and who daily waters it with attention, will eventually see this sapling transform into a mighty oak, capable of withstanding any storm. Your thought is the seed. Your attention is the water and light. Your discipline is the fence, protecting your inner garden from the weeds of doubt and chaos. Thus we perceive that Haanel's system is not merely a set of exercises for the imagination. It is a deeply scientific and simultaneously sacred process of co-creation with the universe itself. By understanding the laws of causation and mastering the art of deepening images, you cease to be a victim of circumstances. You become what you were always meant to be, a sovereign creator who knows that the world outside is merely a reflection of the world within. And each time you close your eyes for the practice of the 10th lesson, you perform an act of the greatest courage. You assume responsibility for every detail of your reality, transforming your life into a masterpiece created according to your own design. It is in this act of creation, in this deep and focused work of thought, that we discover astonishing parallels with the most advanced discoveries of modern science and ancient wisdom. The principle of deepening a mental image, of which Haanel speaks, permeates not only esoteric teachings but also daily life, shaping a culture of success, mastery, and personal transformation. You will perceive it in the persistence of great inventors, in the discipline of champion athletes, in the strategic thinking of business leaders, and in the depth of self-knowledge to which psychologists exhort. Recall Dr. Carl Gustav Jung and his concept of individuation, a process in which an individual becomes a unified, indivisible whole, integrating the conscious and the unconscious. This is not a superficial alteration of habits, but a profound, multi-year endeavor to unveil the true self. Individuation demands continuous, focused attention to the inner world, a deepening of understanding one's archetypes, shadows, and symbols. Just as Haanel proposes daily adding a new detail to the same image, Jung called for a constant dialogue with the unconscious, for a deepening of self-knowledge rather than an endless switching between external roles and masks. Abraham Maslow, the founder of humanistic psychology, described peak experiences, moments of profoundest joy, rapture, and complete absorption. These states arise not from superficial stimuli, but from deep, focused interaction with the world or inner experience. Be it an artist wholly absorbed in creating a painting, or a scientist seized by an epiphany, these moments of absolute concentration when time seems to halt are direct confirmation that depth of attention opens doors to higher forms of human experience. Daniel Kahneman, Nobel laureate, in his work Thinking, Fast and Slow divided our thinking into two systems. System 1, fast, intuitive, automatic, and System 2, slow, deliberate, requiring effort. Superficial, chaotic thinking, constantly switching from one idea to another, operates at the level of System 1. But for the creation and deepening of a mental image, for the conscious formation of reality, it is necessary to engage System 2, that which is capable of deep concentration, detailed analysis, and holding a complex idea in the focus of attention. It is precisely this system that enables us not merely to react to the world, but to actively shape it. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, author of The Concept of Flow, also emphasizes that the state of complete absorption in an activity, when a person feels most alive and productive, is achieved only through deep, focused concentration on a single task. This state, when you completely merge with your activity, when there is no room for distractions and doubts, is the quintessence of the principle of deepening an image. You do not change the task, but immerse yourself ever deeper into it, revealing new facets and possibilities. Modern scientific research confirms these intuitive insights. Dr. Norman Doidge, in his book The Brain That Changes Itself, 2007, presented compelling evidence of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself and create new neural connections in response to experience. But the key factor is focused attention. The brain changes not from passive repetition but from active, purposeful learning. When you literally sculpt your nervous system by deepening a chosen image or skill. Dr. Bruce Lipton, a pioneer of epigenetics, demonstrated that our genes are not an unchangeable sentence. Their expression, that is, how they manifest, depends on signals from the environment and, most importantly, on our perception of that environment. A deeply rooted, detailed mental image that you daily deepen can alter your perception of reality at a cellular level, sending new signals to your body and activating those genetic programs that correspond to your inner vision. Even in the realm of quantum physics, albeit with great caution, philosophical parallels can be found. Alain Aspect's experiments in the year 1982, which confirmed quantum entanglement, demonstrated that particles can remain linked, regardless of distance, instantaneously influencing one another. While this is not direct proof of thought's influence on matter, it hints at a profound interconnectedness of all existence, suggesting that the world is not a collection of disparate elements, but a unified, interconnected field, where focused intention can play a far more significant role than we are accustomed to believing. This principle of deep concentration and fidelity to vision finds its vivid embodiment in the biographies of great personalities. Napoleon Hill, having dedicated 20 years to studying the secrets of success, concluded that a definite chief aim is the cornerstone of any achievement. This is not merely a goal, but a deeply elaborated, detailed mental image of the desired future, which must be held in consciousness with tireless persistence. His inspirer, Andrew Carnegie, demonstrated this unidirectional concentration in his business, focusing on a single goal, steel production, and bringing it to perfection. Earl Nightingale, one of the most influential motivational speakers of the 20th century, in his famous message *The Strangest Secret*, asserted, "You become what you think about." He spoke not of fleeting thoughts, but of dominant, persistent mental images that an individual constantly deepens and nourishes with their attention. It is precisely this depth and constancy of thought that shapes our reality. Recall Thomas Edison, who conducted thousands of experiments before inventing the light bulb. He did not change the goal, he deepened his understanding of the problem, adding new details and approaches to the same fundamental task. Nikola Tesla, according to accounts, could visualize his inventions in his mind with such precision that he saw every detail, every screw, before proceeding to their physical creation. He deepened the mental image to absolute clarity. Steve Jobs was known for his almost fanatical obsession with details and user experience. He did not switch between 20 different products, but deepened the vision of one, striving for perfection in every facet. Oprah Winfrey, one of the most influential women in the world, has repeatedly spoken of the power of visualization and belief in her destiny, of how she held in her mind the image of her success, despite all obstacles. In the world of sports, this principle manifests particularly vividly. Michael Jordan, the basketball legend, did not merely train for hours. He deepened his mastery, honing every shot, every feint, every strategy with incredible intensity and attention to detail. His mental game was as crucial as his physical one. Kobe Bryant, inspired by Jordan, developed his famous Mamba mentality, a philosophy of relentless, purposeful practice, where every aspect of the game was visualized and refined down to the minutest details. He did not merely repeat movements. He deepened his understanding and sensation of the game, transforming every training moment into an act of mental creation. In business, we observe the same. Jeff Bezos, from the very beginning, held a long-term vision for Amazon as the everything store, and he steadily deepened this vision, adding new services, new technologies, yet always remaining faithful to the original idea of customer centricity. Elon Musk, despite numerous setbacks and skepticism, continues to deepen his vision for humanity's future, the colonization of Mars, sustainable energy. He does not abandon his global goals, but constantly seeks new ways to realize them, deepening his understanding of problems and solutions. Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors of all time, is renowned for his ability to deeply analyze a few key companies and industries, rather than dispersing attention across thousands of stocks. He deepens his understanding of business, rather than constantly changing investment objects. This principle is not new. It is part of ancient traditions of wisdom. Hermes Trismegistus, the legendary founder of Hermeticism, taught that as above, so below, as within, so without. This signifies that our inner world, our thoughts and images, are the cause of the outer world. By deepening the inner image, we alter external reality. In Buddhism, the practice of samatha meditation is a practice of one-pointed concentration, where the mind focuses on a single object, the breath, a mantra, with the aim of achieving deep tranquility and clarity. The essence lies not in changing objects but in deepening attention to one. The Zen principle of shoshin beginner's mind, of which Shunryu Suzuki spoke, urges approaching every practice, every question with openness and freshness, yet with deep, constant concentration without being distracted by external changes. The Stoics taught focusing on what is within our control, our thoughts and perceptions. They called for continuous inner work, for deepening the understanding of virtue and reason, rather than flitting from one external event to another. Kabbalah, the mystical teaching of Judaism, includes meditative practices where adepts deepen their understanding of divine names and sephirot, concentrating on symbols and their meanings to grasp the structure of creation. In the yogic tradition, especially in Hatha Yoga, asanas are held not for variety, but for deepening the experience, for penetrating into the subtle sensations of the body and mind, for achieving a meditative state within the posture. Even the ancient Indian text Yoga Vasishtha asserts that the mind Manas is the creator of all reality. It does not merely reflect the world, it creates it. And if the mind is capable of creating, it is also capable of recreating, but only through focused, deepened intention. Thus, Haanel's principle of not changing but deepening is not merely an esoteric recommendation. It is a universal law, confirmed by psychology, neurobiology, success stories, and ancient wisdom. This is the law of concentration, which enables us not merely to dream, but to consciously create, transforming our boldest visions into tangible reality. However, like any powerful instrument, the principle of deepening mental images also harbors potential dangers if applied without proper understanding and wisdom. Incorrect application can lead to a distorted perception of reality, and even to self-destruction. One of the main pitfalls is so-called naive positivism, or magical thinking. This is the conviction that it suffices merely to think positively and visualize to obtain the desired outcome, while ignoring the necessity of action, responsibility, and working with real circumstances. Haanel never advocated passivity. He spoke of mental work that must precede and guide physical actions . Danger arises when an individual begins to believe that thought alone, without effort and self-discipline, is capable of changing the world, thereby transforming the principle into a form of escapism. Another pitfall is the denial of reality. If an individual immerses themselves so deeply in their mental image that they begin to ignore or actively reject facts that contradict their vision, this can lead to catastrophic consequences. For instance, if someone visualizes themselves as absolutely healthy, yet simultaneously refuses necessary medical treatment, this is not a deepening of the image, but a dangerous delusion. Haanel's principle teaches us to form reality, not to deny its existence. He calls for conscious choice, not blind fanaticism. Finally, there is the risk of toxic spirituality, a situation where people use spiritual or metaphysical principles to avoid emotional pain, responsibility, or to justify their own inaction. If you deepen the image of an ideal partner, yet fail to work on your own relationships, develop empathy, or learn to communicate, then this is not practice, but self-deception. True spirituality, according to Haanel, demands not only mental discipline, but also ethical purity, honesty with oneself, and readiness for action. The depth of attention must be directed not only towards the desired future, but also towards an honest contemplation of the present, towards the removal of inner obstacles, and towards the development of personal power that will enable you to bring your vision to life. Thus, recognizing both the power and the potential pitfalls of this principle, we proceed to the practical section. The 10th lesson of the Master Key system is not merely theory, it is a call to action, to daily disciplined work upon one's inner world. The following techniques, developed based on Haanel's principles and confirmed by modern science, will aid you in deepening your attention and transforming your thinking. Practice of the 10th lesson. Deepening image and concentration 30 days. This practice is designed for 30 days. Each day you will add a new detail or a new aspect to the same chosen scene or goal. The objective is not to change the object of attention, but to deepen it, rendering it ever more real and tangible for your subconscious mind. Technique 1. The silence and breath meditation. What to do? Select a quiet place where none shall disturb you. Sit in a comfortable posture with an upright spine. Close your eyes. For 5 minutes, simply observe your breath. Do not attempt to control it. Merely notice each inhalation and exhalation. When the mind begins to wander, gently return your attention to the breath. How many minutes per day? 5 minutes. By which day to begin perceiving effect? After the first week, you will observe that the mind becomes calmer, and the capacity for concentration increases. By the end of the month, you will be able to sustain attention on the breath for longer, and this will become the foundation for all subsequent practices. Technique 2. Deepened visualization. Your scene. What to do. Select one scene from your life or desired future that you wish to materialize. This may be an ideal workspace, your dream home, a scene of your success, or a moment of profound inner peace. Days 1-7. Visualization. Each day, following meditation, close your eyes and envision this scene. At first, simply perceive it in general terms. Days 8-14. Detailing. Commencing on the 8th day, each day add one new specific detail. For instance, the scent of the air, sea breeze, aroma of freshly brewed coffee, smell of rain, the temperature, warmth of sunbeams, coolness of shade, a distant sound, birdsong, sound of waves, quiet music, the texture of fabric, softness of silk, roughness of wood. Days 15-21. Emotional anchoring. Now, with the scene imbued with details, concentrate on the emotions you experience within this scene, the feeling of joy, tranquility, confidence, gratitude. Permit these emotions to fill you. Days 22-30. Sensory immersion. Integrate all, sight, sound, smell, touch, taste, if applicable, emotions. Feel yourself within this scene, as though it is unfolding in the present moment. How many minutes per day? 10 to 15 minutes. By which day to begin perceiving effect? After 2 weeks, you will begin to observe how the scene becomes increasingly vivid and real. By the end of the month, it will feel more real than some memories, and your subconscious mind will begin to seek avenues for its manifestation. Technique 3. Deepened affirmation. What to do. Select one positive affirmation corresponding to your visualization. For example, I easily and joyfully achieve my goals. Or I am surrounded by abundance and success. Days 1-10. Repetition. Daily repeat this affirmation aloud or silently 20 times, immediately after visualization. Days 11-20. Feeling. While repeating the affirmation, concentrate on the feeling it evokes. Feel as though this statement is already true. Days 21-30. Justification. Each day while repeating the affirmation, find one new piece of evidence or reason why this statement is true for you, even if it is a small achievement or an inner sensation. How many minutes per day? 5 minutes. By which day to begin perceiving effect? Within 2 weeks, the affirmation will cease to be mere words and will begin to evoke a deep emotional response, strengthening your belief in goal achievement. Technique 4. Focus journaling. What to do. Keep a special notebook or digital document. Each evening before slumber, record 1 to 3 thoughts or observations pertaining to your main goal or visualization. This may be a new idea, a small step you have taken, or simply a deepening of your understanding of why this goal is important to you. Do not merely enumerate the day's events, but specifically focus on how your day connects with your primary vision. How many minutes per day? 5 to 10 minutes. By which day to begin perceiving effect? Within 10 days, you will begin to observe how your consciousness more actively seeks confirmations and opportunities related to your goal throughout the day. This activates the brain's reticular activating system. Technique 5. Gratitude for that which is accomplished. What to do. Each day, in the morning or evening, dedicate 5 minutes to express profound gratitude for your visualized scene having already come to pass. Feel this gratitude, as though the desired is already a part of your reality. These are not mere words. This is a deep emotional state of appreciation. How many minutes per day? 5 minutes. By which day to begin perceiving effect? Within merely a few days, you will sense a change in your emotional state, a reduction in anxiety, and an increase in positive energy, which will accelerate the attraction of the desired. Technique 6. Mental rehearsal. What to do. Select one specific step or action that you are to undertake for the achievement of your goal. Close your eyes and mentally rehearse this action from beginning to end, envisioning every detail, every movement, every word. Imagine yourself performing it perfectly, with confidence and success. This may be an important conversation, a presentation, the execution of a complex task. How many minutes per day? 5 to 10 minutes. by which day to begin perceiving effect. Commencing from the second week, you will observe that the actual performance of these actions becomes easier. You feel more prepared and confident, and the results improve. Neurons that fire during mental rehearsal strengthen the same pathways as during physical action. Technique 7. Shifting focus from problem to solution. What to do? Throughout the day, as soon as you catch yourself thinking about any problem or obstacle, immediately shift your attention to finding a solution or to the image of the desired outcome. Do not dwell on negativity. If you discover your mind wandering towards doubts regarding your main goal, gently but persistently guide it back to your detailed mental image. This is an exercise in continuous mental discipline. How many minutes per day? This is a continuous practice throughout the day, by which day to begin perceiving effect. Within a few days, you will observe that negative thoughts linger in your mind far less, and you become more oriented towards solutions and opportunities. These practices, performed with discipline and profound attention, will enable you not merely to dream, but to actively shape your reality. They dismantle superficial thinking, compelling you to delve into the essence, to deepen your understanding, and to fortify your will. The 10th lesson of the Master Key System teaches us the most fundamental law of creation. Asterisk, asterisk. Your attention is the energy that shapes your reality. Deepen it, and you will deepen your power of creation. In the next lesson, we shall immerse ourselves in the 11th chapter, where Haanel reveals the secrets of harmony and equilibrium, demonstrating how to achieve inner stability that will enable you not only to create the desired but also to sustain it, transforming fleeting successes into enduring and lasting well-being. We shall learn how to synchronize our inner world with universal laws so that each step forward is not a struggle, but a dance in unison with the rhythms of the universe. Imagine an ancient master stonemason who does not merely lay stones but perceives in each a part of the future cathedral. He does not alter his design with each new stone, but deepens it, refining every facet, every curve, every pattern, until the majestic edifice rises above the earth, becoming the embodiment of his tireless attention and fidelity to his vision. Precisely so, each day, by deepening your mental image, you construct your own cathedral of reality, brick by brick, detail by detail, until it stands before you in all its magnificence, as a living testament to your power and your mastery.